Hey everybody, this is Tom from SmallScaleGardening.com, and we're coming to you from the backyard. It's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. Birthday party in back, planes coming in. Starting to get the garden ready to go. Can't really see it that well. Maybe we'll go back there in a little bit. But wanted to talk a little bit about transferring plants. I've been growing plants since March. Actually late February. Planted a bunch of seedlings. You can see them here. From peppers, dill, tomatoes, also lettuce, kale, and spinach with some lettuce. And with the tomatoes, I've been fortunate that they've sprouted pretty well. They're doing great out here. I've been hardening them off. But you can see here that 3 or 4 plants are sprouting up per cup, and I've got several varieties. I've got these are Better Bush. I've got some Alpaca Amish Paste. Those are Pacaroma Amish Paste, Endless Summer Salsa. So there's a few varieties here. I was going to plant some cherry as well. Just haven't done it yet. They get big and are great producers. But wanted to transplant these guys. So there's about 4 or 5 different varieties right here. And what I've done is I've set up a little workstation to break these seedlings up from 4 or 3 or 4 in a group to just one. And I've already completed a bunch of them here. These are Amish Paste and Better Bush. So what I've been doing is I've set up a workstation. And my process is basically I've got a mix here, a soil mix, and it's compost and potting mix from Menards. It wasn't anything special, and I also dropped some compost in there. So it's a pretty decent mix. I used just the potting mix to get these going, and it worked out pretty well. So that's station 1 is the soil, and I'm repurposing older cups with holes drilled in the bottom. You can see that for drainage. And the basic process is to take a cup, put a little bit of soil in there, maybe a quarter of the cup, and then I come to station 2. This ugly little bucket here with this dirty water is actually a watering station, so I get that bottom quarter soil wet, and then I stage them up here. You can see these have a little bit of soil in them already, and to this I let them drain out in this bucket. So I've got some all staged up and ready to go. To that wet soil, I will add coffee grounds. So here's some coffee grounds. I'll put just a teaspoon of coffee grounds on the top of that soil. And then I'll take these seedlings out and break them like you would a bundle of small plants from a nursery. So I'll section them off, take them out, add them to the cup, get some more soil in them, and then I'll put them in this container over here. And I've also been using popsicle sticks just to label them. So I ran into that last year with some peppers where I wasn't smart enough to remember what I was doing and end up with green peppers instead of jalapenos. No big deal, I like them, but it's always good to know what you're doing. So anyway, I'll kind of take some pictures along the process, and we'll just run it through a slideshow. Maybe someday we'll have a GoPro here, so I'll just do it and make a video while I'm going. So first step is complete, where I've added soil. Second step, got it wet. Third step, let it drain. Fourth step, added coffee grounds. Next step, we'll be breaking up this bunch of seedlings, and then adding them to the cup, and finally adding soil, topping off the soil, then putting in the label, and then putting them into this container. And just as a heads up, I'm just using styrofoam cups. I'm using old red Solo cups from last year. These bins here are from Menards. They're about $5 a piece. They're concrete mixing bins, and they're about 2 feet long, and 18 inches wide or so. So they worked really good. And then, you know, these plants here, like I said, I've got those done already. And they look like they're doing okay. They might get a little wilty. That's okay. They've got a shock here because they're getting broken up and they are losing some roots. But the beauty about tomatoes is that you can see here, see all these little hairs on the stem? Those are all roots. This is a vine. So it might lose some roots in the process, but you put soil around that stem and it is going to take off. Another thing I do, just as a heads up, these leaves right here, they're the bottom leaves. They're the very first leaves that pop out of the seed. Like on a brand new seedling, sorry, this is a brand new summer salsa. Those two little leaves that pop out there are these guys right here. So I take these off when I'm doing this whole process, and that signals to the stem that it needs to get thicker and stronger and actually is good for the plant. So I take those off at this point. These are two Better Bush seedling cups that I've taken apart. Well, started to take apart. The first cup, what I've done is I've taken the grouping apart already. The second, this cup here, I haven't done that yet. Just wanted to show you how it works. So basically, what happens is you'll take your seedling cup, and the beauty of the cup is, you know, you can really pull these out. They really come out. And it's just like you're at a nursery, you know, when you get your plants, you can see the roots there. This is starting to get a little root bound. These are all together. So what I'm going to be doing is splitting them apart, and you just kind of carefully do it. It's not like yanking them all apart or anything. You know, you'll get clumps of roots with them. Again, these are all potential roots along the stem here. I've also taken off those little leaves off of all these clumps here. So each one of these are going to be an individual plant. So I'm going to take one of these sets. You can see the root ball here and all these roots. And here's one of those cups from that second station. I'm going to just drop it in, and then I'm just going to add soil to that. So that's it. And then I'll fill up the soil. I'll add a little label, and then off it'll go into here, so it'll get hydrated. So that's the basic process, and it's really simple. And I did this a lot last year. I had about, over 200 tomato plants, and none of them died, so it went really well. Actually, one died because I forgot to drill holes in it, and it didn't drain properly in the rainstorm. But that's about it. It's really straightforward, and it'll work really great. The coffee grounds will give it nitrogen, which will help it as well. So that's the process. Here we go. It's all set. I'll drop it right on over here next to its brothers and sisters, and then add the little cherry on the top. So there you go. That's all there is to it. Again, they might wilt a little bit initially, but it's just the general shock of being broken apart and put into its own cup and losing some roots in the process. They will recover, especially with some nitrogen burst from the coffee grounds. So that's the process. It works straightforward. I did, on Facebook, I had a post from a fellow blogger, Northern Gardener, and they actually left the root ball intact and cut the stem. That's a way to do it too on tomatoes. But other plants, it doesn't work so well. Again, that's all because you can regenerate a tomato off of a clipping. These are all going to be potential roots here. Now, I will say, during this process, you will get some leftover roots and whatnot. I'll compost this off. It's not a big deal. But I won't use that in a cup. I'll just compost that off. And I've got a little garbage pail going here with some old popsicle sticks. And then just, I think another commentary I'm going to have to do is just the junk you find in your soils. Just the sticks and rocks, and you really have to take a look at your soil that you get from the big box stores. It's just you get some really strange stuff in there. I found wrappers and toys and rocks and sticks and all kinds of yuck. So just be aware of that as you're using potting mix from the big box stores. Well, there you go. all finished up. Got all those groups of tomatoes broken up, and basically about tripled my haul of tomatoes. And again, we've got Alpaca Roma, Amish Paste, Endless Summer, Better Bush, and Summer Salsa. So 5 varieties so far, and probably put in a few cherry tomatoes just to round out the package. But it's a really easy process to follow. Just got to set up a little time to do it. Just to finish off, I did put a little bit of water in these containers, so the plants are getting a good drink. Everything, we'll just check it and see how we do. But based on last year's results and other results, I think this is going to work out just fine. So I'll let you know if it does, and I'll have the counts for how many tomatoes I've got of different varieties. So pretty exciting, gearing up to get the hybrid rain gutter grow system in there. I've got a plan for right in here as well. It's all part of the evolution of design here at Small Scale Gardening. But thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We've got a lot going on this year. It's going to be a great year. Things are really going to take off. And please make sure to follow us on the blog. Going to really start kicking that up a notch. Also on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter. Gotta love my Twitter followers. We're just doing awesome there. I think we're up to almost 1,260 followers. And it's just a really great group of people. And on Facebook, that's really growing too, on the Facebook page for Small Scale Gardening. And just this week, I opened up the Facebook group. So if you're working on a project or a garden, and tell us about what you're doing, what successes you're having, what failures you're having, what experiments you're working on. We'd really like to interact. So it's going to be a great year. I'm really looking forward to it. And I have to tell you, a little bonus here. I did plant an Amish paste tomato back in the bed. I just couldn't wait. So hopefully that one will survive. But thanks again for tuning in to Small Scale Gardening. And we'll talk to you in the near future. In the meantime, let's grow this together. Happy planting, everybody, and we'll check you next time.